Hey, what's up? How you doing? John here. I guess you know that because that's why you probably clicked on this. Anyway, yeah, the I wanted to do, like I was saying, some sort of, um, elaborate on some of the topics I talked about on Garza podcast. Um, just because I mean, it was a great interview and he did a great job and stuff like that. But sometimes on a format like that, you don't really always get to dig into the weeds, or some of the stuff gets kind of pushed around in conversation. It's just normal. It's not anything against him or anything whatsoever. It's just that that's just the way it goes sometimes with these kind of formats and everything. It's not like we're digging into weeds for one specific topic, that you could talk about the minutia. Like I could talk about the minutia forever. But yeah, one of the things that was a little bit, I don't know, annoying, I guess, was that I noticed in the comments, and I know there's always like, trolls and people trying to start shit or whatever. I mean, that's just the way the internet is these days and stuff. But when I brought up the point about the newer style of death metal at that time, which was around 98, 99 or something like that. And I mentioned Nile, and I mentioned Angel Corpse. And for some reason, people thought that that was a slag on them. I don't know how that's a slag on them when I was talking about that death metal was getting tighter. And, both, if you know the history of incantation, both Nile and Angel Corpse around the Diabolical Conquest tour, touring cycle. We toured both those bands, and they were just more my introduction to the. I don't know what version of. I mean, maybe like the third generation of death metal. I'm not really sure, and yeah, I just thought it was really strange because I was just proving a point that things were changing from my style that I was doing, which there was already, a tighter thrash, I think, influence style of death metal that's already been out for a while and stuff. But yeah, it just seemed kind of weird because I was trying to prove the point that you know, at a certain point in the death metal history, that bands started concentrating more on just overall, like, real tightness and stuff like that. And of course, after that, I brought up some of the, quantizing, and I don't think I brought up Beat Detective. But Beat Detective was a thing, and Pro Tools, some of you musicians probably know about. And I did not say that Nile or Angel Corpse used that, and I don't know if they did or not. But I don't. I know nothing about it if they did, and that was not the point that I was trying to get across. I was trying to get across that our style of death metal was possibly um, the old style, and it wasn't this newer styles that was coming out. And it's important that there's newer styles coming out. At that time, I think that myself and probably the rest of the band felt a little bit weird and uncomfortable because we're entering into a realm of, like, not just newer bands, but also just bigger bands that are, playing in a more easier to understand style. Maybe not as grungy, not grungy sounds kind of lame, but like dirty and dark and evil. It was going more of an intense style. A lot of those bands and stuff like that, and yeah, I just, I didn't have time to sit there and discuss the situation in massive detail, but I don't think, um, I don't think there's anything that would have insinuated that I was slagging on those bands. I mean, I really can care less if people like those bands or not. It's not my business if they like those bands or not. And but at the time, I actually thought Nile was really great. I mean, the those at the Ramsey's Bringer of War. I heard that from Craig from Visceral Productions, which was a label we were working with, and I really liked that a lot. And then Nephron Ka came out the same day as our Diabolical Conquest album. I thought it was a great, fresh thing that they were doing, but the reality is that you know it was almost like the writing on the wall was like, this was the popular style that people were interested in, and not the style that we were doing. It wasn't until I don't know, almost 10 years later, maybe 8 years, no, probably 10 years later, that our style kind of came back as far as like being a quote unquote more popular style or something like that. But at that time, I did not know that, and it was a concern because it's like we're not that kind of band. We grew up in a different way. Our influences were Black Sabbath, and a lot of like the underground stuff, like a lot of demo stuff. Necrophagia was a big one for me. Necrovore, Possessed, Celtic Frost, of course, Morbid Angel. There was a lot of great stuff. I mean, even some of the more bigger bands I was really into. I mean, Obituary was a big one. I like them, especially Slowly Rot. It was a great album for him. But that's besides the point. The thing is that yeah, it was just you know for somebody doing what we play, which we play with more of a feeling and a passion, and more trying to get a vibe across, stuff like that. To see that that style was not really something that people were that interested in, and because a lot of the atmospheric stuff that was happening was like this really watered down, like symphonic doom metal or symphonic black metal. Like it seemed like for some reason in the '90s, so once like the mid '90s happened, a lot of bands really got into this watered down version of themselves. Like they were purposely trying to be more acceptable and stuff like that. And I don't know. I mean, it was something that I just never was interested in. Is that um, you know commercial aspect, and I was never gonna sell out the incantation name to try to do something that was trendy at any time or whatever. But yeah, it was a little bit, they weren't great times for us. I mean, Diabolical Conquest did great for us. That's true. It did. The album did great. But overall, I mean, we were basically struggling to survive. After Mortal Throne came out, from Mortal Throne to Diabolical, Diabolical did good, and then things kind of like, I don't know, teetered out a little bit after that. I mean, even though Infernal Storm did good for us as an album, it wasn't it wasn't what people wanted to hear. I mean, there were bands like Dillinger Escape Plan, Fall Carnage, stuff like that, a way more, way far away from say what we were doing, way more experimental, but it was just an experimental way that those bands were doing it, which wasn't the way that we do it, which is the way things work. I mean, incantation does incantation. So anyway, I guess I just think it was lame that people have to be dicks about it and automatically slag on a band that I'm talking about, trying to use the reference point for say a tide change in death metal world, but it's like I don't know. I don't see nothing wrong with it. I mean, they did a good thing. I mean, when Nile first came out, and Angel Corpse. Angel Corpse was a great band. I mean, I loved, um, you know, we toured with them, had a great time. Cool guys, great band. Um, you know, we had the same thing when we toured Nile back then. It was great. I mean, they were supporting us. For the Diabolical Conquest, some shows we were doing for that, and yeah, I mean, we had a good time. I mean, we had a fun time with them. It was cool to hear them throw some fresh stuff into it. It's like I was way more interested in what Nile was doing at that time than some of these other bands that were really going far away from their roots and stuff like that. And, those kind of things, I mean, some bands, they want to expand, they want to move into new places and stuff. And sometimes to me, it goes really far away from where they come from. So it's not really my thing anymore, But, I'm kind of apprehensive to name bands because if I name a freaking band, somebody's going to, say, oh, I don't like this band or whatever. And it's just stupid because, I mean, I like what I like, and I'm not like ashamed to like whatever I like. Or if I don't like something, I'll say I don't like it. But when I'm not even talking about liking a band or disliking a band, and people just automatically run to a conclusion, and I just think that's lame, and it's not fair. It's not a fair thing to toss on to me for just being honest about the situation, and it's not fair to the band because last thing I want to do is drag any band that I'm either friends with or a fan of or don't even know. Why would I want to throw them under a bus? Just the whole thing's stupid. So anyway, yeah, I mean, I just wanted to state my opinion on it, and I kind of was, like I said, surprised and pissed off when I seen that. Some people comment about that because I did spend a lot of time, as you can see, commenting on stuff from that podcast because it was doing really well, and it touched a lot of people in a very positive way, which is really awesome because it's nice in music to be able to you express yourself and then other people get something out of it. It's a great thing. So yeah, I just thought it was pretty lame because it's like somebody has to be fucking lame-o and like take something that's like a positive thing, like saying that a band is super tight, and then all of a sudden people are thinking that's like a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. The thing that, if anything, I was complaining about, it was the fact of there were bands at that time that I'm not going to name because I'm not into this whole slagging bands. I mean, bands do what they want to do, and that's fine. But for me, I don't enjoy when bands put out a record and say like they're quantizing the drums, and then when you go see them live, it's obvious that they can't play to that level. And to me, it's like watching a band live is sometimes, I mean, a lot of times better for me. I enjoy that more because I like that raw feeling of bands playing live. I like feeling the passion in it, and when when music, I mean, it's already been to this point for a long time, but music gets to the point where everything is embellished and fake and, mechanized through, a program like Pro Tools or something like that. The drums are not played right. They probably didn't even practice enough to, get the parts down good or something. So they fix everything in, post or whatever. I mean, there's it's understandable to fix problems on recordings. Obviously, you don't want it to be bad, but it just seems really odd that that was an acceptable thing. I mean, maybe back then it wasn't quite as well known because like I mentioned, you know, not that I mentioned, that I want to mention, is that like I started realizing that from bands like Nile and Angel Corpse, and I'm only naming those two because I already named them, but there were other bands too. I started realizing that these performances that I was hearing weren't their actual performances and stuff. And, for someone like me that I grew up recording on reel-to-reel tape, we had to practice that stuff. And it's like, yeah, I mean, there were times in the studio where it was tough. It was tough to get some of those rhythms down to where we wanted them to be. And sometimes they weren't 100% where we wanted to be, but it still worked out and still, sounded authentic and sound like us or whatever. But I just am not a fan of bands not really playing their parts, and unfortunately there were a lot of bands doing that. You have a band like Nile or Angel Corpse, which they're proficient enough, they can play it. They were that good. They were their focus, was on that intense precision. But there were other bands that were not that. They weren't as good players. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not like saying like everybody has to be a virtuoso. And it's not actually, I'm actually against that because I'm more of a fan of the feeling, the actual feeling of the person in the music and the vibe in the music. So, I would rather hear the band be honest about it. I mean, I'm not like, I just never been that guy that's been like, if the production isn't perfect, if the playing isn't perfect, my screen just turned off for a second. I'm sorry. If everything wasn't perfect, I'm fine with it as long as the feeling's there. I think I mentioned in the podcast that like I'm a very emotional listener. I like to feel the vibe of the band. I like to feel what's really going on in the vibe of what they're doing. It's not like I'm not worried about the technique, and okay, it's nice to hear it if it sounds good. Of course I like it. I mean, it's good to hear, but what really gets me is that passion, and it has to like mean something to me. It has to touch me in a way that is provoking a feeling, and what I'm getting at or whatever. I don't have to, I think I made it clear how I look at things or whatnot in the podcast. But I just it's not good when bands get too OCD about being tight. It takes away a little bit. It's better to practice your part and to record over it. And if you don't think it's tight enough, play it until it's tight enough. But I don't see why death metal or metal in general or doom metal or any stuff like that needs to be fake tight. I think it could be band tight. I mean, do you say a band like I don't know, Black Sabbath is they're not like tight as nails. They're not doing chunks or whatever everywhere, but they're still fucking great, and you're vibing together, and they're tight as a unit. There might not be, maybe if you put the meter on it, they're off meter. Who cares? It's like, I don't give a fuck if the song's off meter. When I listen to a song, though, I might sitting there like, that's off meter. Holy crap, I can't like that. No, if the fucking song's good, if the journey of the song means something, that's what's important. It just, but I know I'm rambling on for a while, but I guess that's what I'm here to do. What happens is sometimes there's musicians that are so talented with their playing and such virtuosos that they forget about the fundamentals of music. And it's like it's about making a good song that's trying to express express the feeling that you're trying to get across. It's not just about a talent show. Okay, maybe some bands are tech deaf, maybe to some extent it's supposed to be a talent show. And okay, if that's what they want to do, okay, I'm not going to really be that into it because that's not where I'm at as a listener or a musician. I'm not a virtuoso on guitar. I could play guitar. I could play the parts I have to. I have to practice like everybody else really hard sometimes to play some of the riffs that we come up with to be good. But, at least when I do it, it's sincere. It's real. It's really me playing the stuff. I don't have to try to, quantize everything in the recording to make it, you know, make it tight or whatever. I'd rather just have it be the tightest that we could play it and try to be in a pocket with the band and have fun with it. But these, just people like different things. Some people like it really tight, and some styles of music it works for. There's so many styles of metal now that, to me, it's vomitous how many styles of metal are. There's too many, actually. It's like, I get it that there styles that started later that are distinctively different, like the metalcore stuff or whatever, and that deathcore or whatever. Okay, those are different, like substantially different styles. But when you start talking about minutia to change the styles, I think it's just silly. But that's another sidetrack that I'm on. So anyway, so you can either think I'm a total dick for having my opinion, and hey, that's cool. I don't care. And the bottom line is that I'm honest about it. I like my music really played with, good players, the best it could be, but not fake. I don't want it fake. I don't want fake drums. I don't want fake guitars. I want everything really played to the best of our ability. And the bands I listen to, I enjoy more the feeling of the songs. Like I said, like a lot of stuff I listen to is not the best sounding recordings. Is not the virtuoso playing, but the songs move me, and that's what's important. And that's what we've been trying to do with Incantation, throughout our whole career, is try to be honest about it, try to be real about it, try to provoke something, try to let the feelings we have inside get out. And, but other people out there have different opinions. They think that it's better to have, the tightest. Everything has to be the tightest ever only. But it's like, it doesn't matter if it's tight. It's great if it's tight, but if the song isn't good or it doesn't move me to whatever, the journey should be of the song, and it's just tight, who gives a crap? It's like, yeah, you're a great player. Unfortunately, I've dealt with, and I've also been around a lot of musicians that are extremely talented, but they just really can't express themselves in a songwriting capacity, and that is fine if they want to be just a virtuoso. But the problem is, a lot of people, they work too hard on doing their scales and worrying about these things that are like almost like the icing on the cake. But when you go to listen to them play a rhythm, they have no feeling in their rhythm whatsoever. I've come across that numerous times, and it just it's hard for me to understand. It's like, because without, it's like having a cake and having the the whatever the middle dough part or whatever is the song, like the actual cake is the song, and then the frosting is like the leads, and say, I don't know, maybe the leads and the vocals and the harmonies and stuff like that. And it's great when that stuff's good, but if the cake isn't good, then who cares? And that's what I feel like a lot of times with certain death metal bands that, focus too much on the show off side of it and stuff. I mean, when I started incantation with Paul Lenny back in the day, one of our biggest things we would say at practice is like, this is not a talent show. It's like, we don't care. We don't care what people think about our playing. If they think we're a great player or a bad player or whatever, is the song fucking good? Is the song fucking means something? And is it true? And that's how I feel still about it. And you know, everyone's perfectly fine to have another opinion on it. I mean, really, who cares? If you think my idea of doing it sucks, join the fucking party, because I've been dealing with this throughout my whole career of people trying to put us down in the industry, other bands, whatever, because you know we might not be quite as technically proficient as somebody else, but it's like our music was never meant to be that technically proficient. I mean, of course, it's great. You want to play the stuff the best way possible, but we're not going to throw in stupid virtuoso stuff just to try to impress our peers or higher ups or anybody. It's like, that's fucking stupid. It's like, we're going to write the song we want to write, the feeling we want to have, and if you like it or you don't like it. And it's like I said, who gives a fuck if you like it or not, really? I mean, of course, we appreciate it when people like our stuff, but we're not doing it for the praise. We're doing it because it's something true to us. It's like, and who am I to say if playing arpeggios all the time is not true to somebody? Maybe it is, and I'm sure it is, and that's great. But for me, it's like, I want to hear the fucking song. The song has to mean something. Not, the lead. If the lead's good on the song, that's great. But if the song is no good, I don't care how good the lead is. I just don't. You know. So anyway, that is my rant, and I'm sure I probably pissed off a bunch of other people too, but yeah, I had to make my statement on this because I was really disappointed with the way some people have been about it. I mean, it's cool to have your opinion on it, but don't try to insinuate that I'm saying something that I'm not saying. If you listen to the situation that I'm talking about and the point, you would know that I am not slagging any band or anyone doing what the fuck they want to do. I mean, they do it for the right reasons, wrong reasons. If it's a band I don't really know or like or care about, or if it even is a band I do care about, it's their band. They do however the fuck they want to do, and we have our band Incantation. We do it the way we want to do it, and I just think that if they're going to be respected for their talent and stuff like that, we should be respected for what we bring to the table too, because we all have a place in the death metal world. And like I said, I don't care, about the talent show stuff. It just isn't important to me. Anyway, I want to thank you guys again. The reaction for the podcast was amazing, and just keep in mind that if there's anything else you want me to elaborate on from the interview. I mean, anything else too, I don't mind answering. But if you want me to elaborate on the interview, that's what I'm kind of concentrating now. I can, because even though I did speak a lot about certain things, it's like in the in an hour and a half podcast to get into the real details of the situation and to really dive deep. I could have did an hour and a half just on one of the topics he brought up. So I mean, maybe I just talk a lot, maybe I have lots of opinions. That's why I have fun doing Rock Fantasy Files and Pete Pardo's show, and I did that. And also whatever, the jamming out all badass stuff. It's just, you know, I like doing this stuff. I like doing the podcast stuff, and I don't do it as much as I used to because I don't have much time. But yeah, whatever. Anyway, I'm just babbling. But yeah, if you want to elaborate any more in that interview, go. I'll elaborate on it. If you don't want me to, okay, I won't. It's no problem. But there were a lot of really amazing things that came from it, and I want to thank everybody for the support. It's been absolutely phenomenal. Wait, here. Yeah, it's like it's showing this, I think, backwards for some reason. But okay. Anyway, hail the goat, motherfucker. Yeah. See ya.